Are you sure you want me to take part in this go-kart race? Sure thing, boss. A few years back, I started my first job as a mechanic and was informed of a mandatory monthly kart race in the local track which was promoted by my boss and owner of the company. He didn't care if you enjoyed it or not, he booked the time slot and we all had to show up, after working hours and paying our own ticket to drive. It was supposed to be a team-building exercise and I could see the boss really liked race cars through the various pictures and trophies in his office. During the week, in anticipation to the event, boss would motivate/participate in setting the mood for the upcoming race. It was the only topic that week and I was told by colleagues that this was really important. I knew that, on the evening of the race, I had to pick up my girlfriend and that would clash with the race, so a couple of days before, I told my supervisor that I would not attend the race. It was after hours and on my dime anyway, so I didn't think it would be a problem. Some 20 minutes later, I'm summoned to the boss office and he's not looking happy. He tells me that building the team spirit is one of his priorities and that I'm new there, so I was to give a lot of focus to this monthly event if I was to keep working there, because it was part of the core culture of the company. I really needed the job, so I just said sure thing, boss. On the evening of the event, I drive to the kart track and, upon arrival, I see my colleagues all in jeans and t-shirts and my boss in full ballerina attire. He had racing overalls, racing boots, gloves, and even a custom helmet. It dawned on me the reason for the event and why so much attention was given to it. Kart racing was his thing. With about 15 racers, I asked to start dead last. Boss man listens to me talking and intervenes in front of everyone that we were there to race and not to just drive around slowly. Up until that point, I wasn't really paying much attention, but I decided to comply and show how much the core corporate culture was important to me. Starting from last, I proceeded to overtake all other karts, including boss man on the outside of a fast corner. Overtaking on the outside is often seen as a bold, arrogant move. After just a few more laps, I reached him again and, as I was about to lap him, he went into the pits and stepped out. I duly won the race and, as I left the track into the bar, the real team building event, someone tells me that the boss had left. At the bar, the topic of the evening was how I had outraced everyone and how the boss, who had won all races since ever, was livid with my performance. Too bad for him. I guess I forgot to add to my resume that I had raced karts competitively as a kid, so I knew what I was doing and shattered his Ricky Bobby dreams. After that, I was always courteously invited but never again required to show up to his events. I went a few times but arrived late on purpose so I would just take part on the bar thing and not the race.
Now to the comments. Monthly mandatory unpaid events to stroke the boss's ego. SMHH.
It's worse than unpaid. Employees had to pay for their own ticket. At my job, we once had a similar team-building event. The difference was, the company paid for it, and it was during working hours, so we earned our normal pay while there. Now that I put it that way, I guess ours was completely different. It was fun, and didn't break any labor laws.
Yep, girlfriend has a company go-kart event next week. Company has paid for everything already. Downside is it's 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., but they don't have to log into work until 10 a.m. instead of the usual 8 a.m. to make up for it. Why is no one having fun? I specifically instructed people to have fun.
Beatings will continue until morale improves.
I have this on a hat. Very inspirational. My favorite ones are paintball with bosses. First time I showed up, I only brought a mask. I knew the rental markers well enough. The bosses all had mid-level tournament markers. Next time I brought my hockey-sized gear bag. That was when they found out I played, at that field, 2 to 3 days a week and had been for a few years.
I've been trying to get my work to do an airsoft team building event. Just cause I wanna make the boss cry. Oh, you called your hit? Sorry, I couldn't hear it, so I just emptied my mag to be sure.
Oh sorry, Forgot it was on ramp mode after 12 balls hit LOL. You should submit the overtime. If the time is company mandatory, then it's company paid.
Yep. I don't work a single extra minute without getting paid. Company makes 200+ million profit a year, so that's reason enough not to. Previous job we did have fun with the boss and co-workers every now and then, but it was a decision together and the boss would always cover cost. No problems with that, was a very healthy work environment, and if he didn't pay I'd have still participated on my own cost.
In the Navy, we call this kind of thing mandatory fun time.
The thing is, in the military it's all on the clock, and rarely happens during traditional off time. Wait. Never mind. It almost always sucked. On the upside, for me, it almost always happened during regular work hours, and there was beer. Beer cures a lot of ills.
Ours was on Saturdays usually and turned into a competition to see who could slink away the earliest. I ran into my chief in the parking lot and he was like, "We didn't see each other, petty officer." A little lesson in humility never hurt anyone. Maybe he should use it as a lesson to not force people to do things they don't want to do on their own dime. Mandatory fun for work. I'm getting paid / on the clock for this. Work is also footing the bill.
Exactly. If I'm required to show up, I'm getting paid, and sure as hell I ain't paying to attend a required work function.
After the race, should have gone with, "Boss, my first race was a lot of fun, we get to do this every month."
OP replied. Haha. He continued to promote it every month, but I never joined again.
Years ago, someone came up with a mini indie go-kart racing deal that went from city to city. The company I worked for dived in headfirst as there was some charity involved and it was a good political event for the company. I was ordered to attend. I was into go-karts, but I wasn't into this as it was a stock 5 HP Briggs & Stratton engine. Top speed maybe 30 miles per hour. Plus the rules are very restricting. Engine RPM was checked, no changes to the gearing was allowed and so on. I had a go-kart at home that would do well over 100 miles per hour, so this was like driving a moped when you were used to racing bikes. I had raced karts some, so I think the owner believed I was their ringer. Anyway, I refused to do it and was told in no uncertain terms by the owner that I had to. It sucked that I was a salaried employee, so no money in it either, no incentive for me to show up, let alone participate. A few other employees were all into it and more wanted to participate, but couldn't as only so many could be involved. The owner would not let me drop out and have someone else that wanted to take my place. The racing had been announced daily throughout the company and everyone was encouraged to attend. The night before the race there was a large banquet we were required to attend and a bunch of stupid games the racing teams played. I participated, but didn't put any effort into it and got a bit of heat from it as it was obvious, I was not trying. The day of the race there was nobody there except the few employees that were required to be there, not even the owner of the company that was pushing this down our throats. I was one of the drivers and when it was my turn, I just took a leisurely drive around the course and finished in dead last. My manager that was involved was busting my butt for not pushing harder and I just looked at him and said I needed to get paid more if I was expected to compete. A second heat I was in the kart had a minor breakdown, so I DNF. I got a bit of backlash from it the following week, but it was worth it. I also reminded him I didn't want to participate and perhaps some other employee that was interested would have been a better choice. There were other issues working for this company, but I left soon after.
OP replied. Yes, similar situation. The pressure is there to take part in it. The karts I raced as a kid were 2 strokes 40 HP, these ones were 4 strokes 10 HP.